October 2025 marks a historic turning point for international education in Australia. For decades, Australia has been known as one of the most open, welcoming, and accessible destinations for students worldwide. Its universities consistently rank among the world's best, its cities are safe and diverse, and for many years the student visa route was considered one of the easiest and most affordable ways to study abroad. But the government has now introduced a sweeping reform package that fundamentally changes how students can enter, study, work, and live in Australia. These laws will directly affect not only new applicants but also current students, their families, and even universities and employers who depend on international talent. Why such drastic change? The answer lies in growing public pressure, rising housing costs, labour exploitation, and questions about whether the student visa system was being used for genuine education or simply as a backdoor into Australia's job market. This script will give you a complete breakdown of the history and reasons behind these laws, the exact changes starting in October 2025, how they will affect students, families, universities, and Australia's economy, global reactions and comparisons with countries like Canada, the UK, and the US, long-term consequences for Australia's international education sector, practical guidance for students preparing to study under these new rules. By the end, you'll have a clear picture of what's changing, why it matters, and what students need to do now. Why the reforms were needed. To understand the October 2025 visa reforms, we need to go back and look at the problems building up over the last decade. Between 2022 and 2024, Australia's bigger cities, Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane, saw unprecedented rental inflation. Rent prices rose by as much as 30% in just 2 years. With more than 500,000 international students entering each year, competition for affordable housing skyrocketed. Local residents began to complain that migration, especially student inflows, was worsening the housing crisis. 2. Job market concerns. International students often work in retail, hospitality, cleaning, and service jobs. Employers sometimes paid them below minimum wage or made them work beyond the legal limits. While this exploitation hurt students, many Australian citizens also argued that they were being displaced in their own job market by students willing to work for less. 3. Low-quality education providers. The biggest scandal came from the rise of ghost colleges. These were institutions that technically enrolled students but provided little or no real teaching. Students joined mainly for the visa, then worked illegally. This loophole damaged Australia's global reputation as an education hub. 4. Migration misuse. For many, the student visa had become a migration pathway rather than a genuine study plan. Students applied for cheap, low-value courses simply to get into Australia, hoping to later switch into work visas or permanent residency. 5. Government Migration Review, 2024. In December 2024, a major review of Australia's migration program concluded the student visa system was not sustainable. Too many students were arriving without enough funds or clear academic goals. The system needed reform to protect both students and Australia's economic interests. These pressures pushed the government to announce the October 2025 student visa overhaul. The October 2025 student visa changes. Full details. So, what exactly is changing from October 2025? Let's break it down. 1. Financial proof of funds. Old rule. Students needed to show about $24,505 Australian dollars per year in savings. New rule. Students must now show $30,000 Australian dollars to $35,000, depending on city and family size. White right pointing backhand index. This ensures students can afford real living costs in expensive Australian cities. Minimum IELTS raised from 6.0 to 6.5. For postgraduate courses, some universities now demand 7.0. White right pointing backhand index. Students must demonstrate higher academic readiness before arrival. 3. Genuine student test, GST. The old genuine temporary entrant test is gone. Now, under the GST, students must provide a clear academic plan, course relevance to career, show they understand the costs and commitments, prove they are genuine students rather than job seekers, 4. Work hour restrictions. Old rule, 48 hours per fortnight. New rule, 24 hours per week, stricter monitoring. White right pointing backhand index. Students must focus primarily on studies, not jobs. 5. Post-study work rights. Bachelor's degree now only 2 years, down from 4. Master's degree 3 years, down from 5. PhD remains 4 years. 6. Spouse and dependent rules. Dependents can still join, but spouse work rights are reduced. Families must show higher combined financial capacity. 7. Pathway to permanent residency. PR is now linked only to critical shortage occupations. No more easy transition from generic courses to migration. Immediate impact on students. The effects are already being felt. 4 new applicants applying is harder and more expensive. Only genuine, financially stable students can qualify. Competition for seats in top universities is rising. For current students, those already in Australia face stricter work limits and reduced post-study visa extensions. Students in low-value courses may feel trapped, as their migration hopes shrink. For families, higher proof of funds equals fewer middle-class families can afford to send children. Spouses will have fewer opportunities to support household expenses. Impact on universities and colleges. 1. Top universities. Institutions like University of Melbourne, University of Sydney, ANU will continue to attract students, as they already had high standards. 2. Lower-tier colleges. Smaller private colleges may shut down due to fewer enrolments, especially those that relied on visa-hunting students. 3. Financial risks. International students contributed over 40 billion Australian dollars annually to Australia's economy. A decline in numbers could mean lost revenue. 4. Positive side. Less overcrowding. More genuine, academically focused students. Improved global reputation for quality. 1. Skilled workers. The domino effect of stricter student visas. Australia has historically relied on international students as a pipeline for future skilled workers. Many students arrive, complete their studies, and transition into industries facing shortages: healthcare, engineering, IT, construction, and hospitality. With the October 2025 changes, reduced PR pathways, now only critical shortage fields like aged care, nursing, cybersecurity, and regional trades offer smoother transitions to permanent residency. Students in business, general management, or low-demand courses will struggle to secure work visas afterward. Impact on employers. Restaurants, hotels, and retail stores that depend heavily on student workers will see staffing shortages. These industries often rely on students because they are flexible, available for part-time work, and willing to accept shifts locals avoid. Healthcare sector concerns. Australia faces an aging population crisis. Limiting migration of students could reduce the inflow of nurses, carers, and allied health workers, creating long-term strain. 2. Families of students. The hidden struggle. While policies focus on students, families also feel the burden. Spouse work rights reduced. Before, spouses could work freely in many cases. Now, restrictions mean one breadwinner must shoulder most costs, creating financial stress. Children's schooling. Dependents in school require additional tuition fees, adding to already high financial proof requirements. Emotional separation. Many students will have to come alone because families cannot meet the new financial thresholds. This causes emotional strain and isolation, especially for married students with children. 3. Gender and cultural impacts. Women students. Married women may face pressure not to apply if their husbands cannot join or support them. Cultural expectations. In countries like India, Pakistan, and Nepal, parents often fund study with the expectation that the whole family will migrate later. With PR pathways narrowing, these dreams may fade. Social and psychological consequences. Visa laws don't just affect economics, they touch students' daily lives, identities, and mental health. 1. Increased stress and anxiety before arrival. Students must now prove higher funds, stronger English, and clear study plans. Many feel stressed even before setting foot in Australia. After arrival, The stricter 24-hour work rule means students who relied on part-time jobs for survival may face financial crises. 2. Fear of failure and deportation. The genuine student test requires students to demonstrate academic seriousness. Any failure, visa breach, or inability to pay fees could result in refusal or cancellation. This constant pressure leads to fear, insecurity, and sometimes burnout. 3. Isolation and loneliness. With dependents' work rights restricted, many families cannot afford to stay together. Students often live alone, away from spouses and children. Cultural loneliness intensifies, especially in smaller regional towns where fewer migrants live. 4. Exploitation risks. Although the reforms aim to protect students, reduced legal work hours may push some into illegal cash-in-hand jobs, where they face wage theft or unsafe conditions. 5. Positive social outcomes. Less overcrowding in housing markets. More genuine peer groups focused on academics rather than just survival jobs. Stronger community support services may emerge as universities adapt to students' new challenges. Economic impact on Australia. Australia's economy is deeply tied to international education, which contributed over $40 billion Australian dollars annually before COVID-19. The new visa laws will ripple across industries. 1. Short-term economic losses. Universities and colleges. Lower enrollment equals less tuition revenue, especially for second-tier institutions that survive on student fees. Some may close. Housing market. Fewer students renting means slight easing of demand, but landlords who depended on student tenants may lose income. Local businesses, cafes, grocery stores, and services around campuses lose customers if student numbers fall. 2. Long-term economic shifts. Workforce quality versus quantity. While numbers may drop, the students who do arrive will likely be better funded, better skilled, and more employable in high-demand sectors. Innovation boost. Serious students in STEM fields may drive research and innovation, improving Australia's global competitiveness. Balanced housing market. With fewer low-income students competing for rentals, housing stress may ease slightly for locals. 3. Government spending and revenue. Lower student numbers equals reduced tax contributions from part-time workers. However, the government saves money on public service drain, healthcare, housing, welfare, caused by students working illegally or under pressure. Global reactions and comparisons. Australia is not changing in isolation. Other countries are also tightening rules. 1. Student sending countries. Reactions. India and Nepal. Families are worried. Australia was a top destination, but rising costs and stricter rules may push students toward Canada or the UK. China. Many wealthy students may still afford Australia, but others will shift to the US and Europe. Pakistan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka. Middle-class students will be hit hardest by new financial thresholds. 2. Competitor countries. Canada introduced new proof of funds requirements in 2024 and limited work permits. Like Australia, focusing on quality. UK banned most student dependents in 2024. USA, already strict, but its OPT, optional practical training, is still a big draw for STEM students. 3. Global trends. The pattern is clear. All top destinations are closing loopholes and raising standards. Australia is simply catching up. White right pointing backhand index summary. Globally, Australia risks losing some market share, but its reputation for quality education may strengthen. Long-term outlook and guidance for students. 1. Long-term outlook for Australia. Selective migration. Only students in high-demand fields, IT, nursing, teaching, trades, will find easy pathways to stay. Reputation upgrade. By cutting out visa factories, Australia rebuilds its image as a serious academic hub. Universities rebalance. Schools dependent on international tuition may collapse, but elite universities will thrive. 2. Guidance for future students. Plan finances carefully. Show at least 35,000 Australian dollars in savings. Boost English skills. Aim for IELTS 7.0 or equivalent. Pick relevant courses. Prioritize courses in occupations Australia needs. Don't count on PR alone. Value the education and experience more than the migration outcome. Stay updated. Immigration laws will evolve yearly. Follow government announcements and trusted news. 3. The human element. Advice beyond rules. Be mentally prepared for cultural adjustment and loneliness. Build networks. Join student associations, connect with alumni, and use university support. Treat your stay as a stepping stone for skills and global experience, not just a visa. And that brings us to the end of this full breakdown of the October 2025 student visa laws in Australia. These reforms will shape the future of education, migration, and work for thousands of students worldwide. The rules are tougher, but opportunities remain for those who prepare, plan, and pursue their dreams with determination. If you found this video useful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more updates on international student life, immigration policies, and global education trends.